Hello and welcome back to another episode of Coast Football Weekly. Today we're joined by the head coach of the most successful team in Central Coast football history. Welcome to the pod, Chris Ackerley.
Thank you very much.
Now, as you can see, new polo at East Gosford for this year. How's life treating you at the Rams?
Yeah, it's good. It's exciting. It's a new chapter, and it's I needed a change. So it's been good so far. We've had a good start. I think 5 wins, a draw, and a loss. So we're sitting a point off the lead, and going into the second round. Hopefully, we can push on.
How was it entering the Rams pre-season, coming to a new team? Recruiting wise, was it a difficult year to try and get players to the club?
It was extremely, extremely hard. We started off with no one. We had not one player. So we opened it up. We got players in, got players from the first division side that they had, the all-age side. There was 2 all-age sides, so we've got some of the older boys as well, some of the younger ones, and then we just tried to go. And we've got a few older heads in that we've brought in from the MPL.
Yep.
And, it seems to be going all right so far.
Yeah, well, first round went on socials, Ian McAndrew, the winner. How important was that to sort of kickstart the year with a win?
Oh, that was huge because it was Old Boys Day as well, and we had a massive crowd there. And
it looked like a big crowd.
And it's been continuing every home game, and I think Saturday nights it's been real exciting for the club as well, especially not having a side last year, and now we've got a side and we're doing well at the moment.
So why the Rams? Last time we saw them, they were a Premier League side, couldn't get a team together, didn't see them last year. They're back now in Division 1. Was it sort of a building process for you? Was that sort of where you're at this stage in your career?
Yeah, it was. It sort of reminded me of when I started back at Killarney. You know, I'd had 2 years at Killarney when I first came up on the coast, and then 3 years at the Entrance, then got an offer to go back to Killarney, and they were in Division 1 at the time. This at East Gosford's even harder in regards to we had no one. So start from scratch, and it was an exciting challenge, and see if I could do it again.
And I think last time you coached in Div 1 was 2010. Yeah. What are the main differences from now to then?
Oh, gee, I'm an old bloke. You're pushing me to remember.
What about the differences from Prems last year to Div 1 this year? Is there much difference between the 2 leagues?
Yeah, I think there's quite a lot. Well, yes and no. Well, you look at your minor now who have gone up. They've got they had a terrific squad from what I got told last year, and obviously they're in the top 4 at the moment. There's at each club in the Premier League, I think there's a lot more higher quality players, if I can put it in that regard. There is some quality players in this league, but they're spread out more. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's not concentrated in 1 or 2 clubs as such. Well, you look at the Premier League now, it seems to be the top 4 sides, and then it's a battle for the rest of them. So, it'll be interesting, you know, if we keep going how we are and our aim is to try and get promotion, then maybe we might be able to get a few, because there's quite a lot of old East Gosford boys who were in the Premier League playing at other clubs.
Spread out, some good quality players
very good quality players. And, you know, East Gosford's always been known for producing good kids as well, and now we've started the academy again. So we're 3 or 4 weeks into that, and hopefully we can keep an eye on some kids that are coming through and then try and keep them at the club. So
promotion is the goal for your first year at East Gosford. There's no waiting around building. It's this year.
Yeah, I'd like to. Yep. It's no use going to a club if you don't want to win. That's I'd like to do that. 2010 when I went back to Killarney, we did that. I'm going to get fined for saying that word. It would be. It's always the aim to win. Yeah.
And before we get into Killarney and obviously the dynasty that you had there, tell us more a bit about how you first got involved in soccer. Did you start playing from a very young age?
Yeah, I started when I was 6. I badgered my mum all the time to play. Because my father, he was a professional in England and then came out here and he captained Australia and played out here. So I was always in and around football. So it's, always started in the Penrith area. Until we moved up here.
Pretty good role model to have.
Oh, yeah. It was. It actually very. I've seen a lot of the high profile Australian players and stuff like that, and yeah, it's just different way to grow up.
Mm-hmm. And when did the coaching journey start? Is it always something you wanted to do
The
after playing, or was it injuries that sort of pushed that along?
No, I was about 31, 32, and I did a few youth teams with my brother-in-law, and then I did a first team assistance job with my dad at Schofields, and then moved up here and then got the Killarney gig.
Was Killarney your first club when you came to the coast?
Killarney was the first
Yeah. Coach grade there, went to the entrance, went local rivals, and then went back in 2010.
Yeah.
Got promoted. What do you remember from that year, if you can?
From that year, it was a great year in regards to just the camaraderie, and it was one of those years where just everything seemed to, we got on a roll. I remember, and this is for me remembering, I think we were playing Kincumber one game at Jubilee, and we were 3 or 4-0 down, and we ended up winning. I think it was either 4-3 or 5-4, something like that. And so that was one of those years where we seemed to be scoring late as well, and everything just seemed to happen for us. And we didn't win the league though. We came second behind Wyong, I think it was, who had Warren Stevenson, who's been my assistant for years now.
Yeah.
So it's sort of been going round and round with Woz and myself for years now.
Yeah, well, back in that day, it's obviously club championship that got you promoted or relegated. So you obviously finished first in that, got promoted. How did you find MPL going in with Killarney Vale?
That first year, I think we finished 5th or 6th, and it was one of those where, okay, you look at the top 4 and you think if we can pinch a point somewhere, we pinch a point. But it was the other 6 or 8 sides. They were the big matches, you know, just to make sure that you stayed out of the relegation. So that was our aim that year, and then we stayed up quite comfortably, I think it was, in the end. And then I think from you'd know more than me about when we won our first league and stuff like that.
So first league championship was 2013. So that's not the start of the dynasty, but first one in 2013. What do you remember from that year?
Not much.
No,
no, it's same with. I've always at clubs made sure that both first and reserves train together. Everything's done together, and then when the 23s was introduced, that happens as well in that regard. Everything happens together so that no one is bigger than the club and no player is bigger than anyone else. And that's what we've tried to make sure at every club I've been, that, you know, everyone's on a par and everyone comes together and becomes a mate.
I'm going to keep calling it a dynasty because that's really what it is. So the dynasty started in 2016, and it's just not been first grade throughout that time. You've obviously multiple grades in multiple grand finals. I think there was 1 or 2 years, maybe even more, where all 3 grades are in the grand final. Was the culture the main reason behind that, you think? Let alone, obviously, you had quality players, but to have that whole togetherness, how far did that go in that side like that?
Went a long way. The word culture, it's a funny word, I think, because if you're losing, people say you've got a bad culture. If you're winning, you've got a good culture. You know, you can still not be getting the results and have a great culture.
Yeah.
You know, the last 2 years at Killarney, we weren't going, that I was there, we weren't going as well as we thought we would, but the culture was still great.
Yeah.
You know, so it does play a part, but yeah, I think our boys have always been one together, and you can see now probably from that side that dominated, most of them are playing together still in Division 1 all age, and they're having so much fun because they've all grown up together. They're just mates, and I think they're mates for life.
And when you look back now, when you hear 7 straight league championships, what does that mean to you?
Oh, it's unbelievable, isn't it? You know?
Never been done before. I doubt it'll be ever done again.
Yeah, well, yeah, you can never say never, can you? But it's a record that, you know, everyone at the club played their part in it. You know, every player, you know, you could go through and we've had players come in, come out, leave, come back, everything like that. Everyone played a part in that.
Now, I'm pretty sure you've only had one player who was there in 2013 and also through the dynasty. Do you know who that player was?
Tim Knight.
Yeah, Tim Knight.
Yeah.
Quality player, still playing today. He scored on the weekend. When you look back at Killarney back then, was it still the club that you sort of know today, or has a lot changed since
No,
those years?
it's still the same. Still the same. They've been lucky in regards to the people that run the club. Okay, it first started with Brett Scrine and Matt Gale, but the biggest one is Billy Birrell there. Billy's just unbelievable. Without Bill, he drives everything at the club, and it's everything now is still the same because my boy's still there, even though I tried to get him to come over, but get lost, he's told me. But the mateship that they've got and the friendship, that's what drives the club. And as I said, with that Division 1 side, you can see it still. I ran into them all on the weekend, and I'm sure I've got some stupid questions off them coming. It's been, I think the club itself is still the same. They're in a rebuilding stage as well. Best of luck to them in that regard.
And was there ever a year where you thought the streak might end?
Probably every year. Yeah. Because you never you go in expecting to win, but the closer you are, the more you win, the closer you are to a loss. And so in that regard,
and obviously having a target on your back every year,
every game it was
opposition's basically playing a grand final, right?
Well, that's what I'd say to the boys as well. And people would say, "Oh, you play the same system, you play everything." And it was Billy would always say, "Well, we'll send them the team sheet because they know exactly how we're going to play." But it was about that in that time. We just had some amazing players. When you look back over it, some of those players will probably be classed as the best players to play in the Central Coast Football League. So yeah.
And how much did the team change over the years? We did see a different lineup from obviously your first league championship to your last. There was a core that sort of stuck through there. How important were they throughout the whole journey?
They were amazing. Yeah, your Hall boys, Kirky. Early on, it was the Hormans and different players like that. Silvers was there for quite a few of them. D-Rod. Yeah. The names Kleiny, the first year Kleiny came to us from Charlestown, I had to try and find him a spot and I had to play him at left back. And, Daniel Moffat, all of those boys are just, phenomenal footballers and better people, That's the main part.
Yeah. Is there a game throughout that whole journey? Talk about grand finals, talk about this, but is there a certain game that stands out, like one that you won't forget? Matt Hall bicycle. There's plenty of moments.
There's probably two. When we played, it was the start of Wungara's appearance and starting to get strong and getting players. I think it was we played here to win the league championship, and Daniel Moffat, I think, scored to equalise in the 80-odd minute, and then I think it was Matt Hall scored an overhead to win. And then, of course, the one you spoke about, Matt Hall, an overhead, it's probably the best goal in a grand final ever seen here. Yeah. And it's some of those games are just, you look at it and you think, wow, did I just watch that? They were really good spectacles, and it's even better when you win, isn't it?
And there's 1 year throughout there, you've had 3 unbeaten years, but there was 1 year where 18 games, 18 wins. Do you think that was the best team that you had throughout this journey?
I don't know. That's a hard one because
the competition's changing so much.
Yeah, the competition changes all the time, and I know that year as well, 18 games, 18 wins, and I always have placed more credence on the league title because I think if you can show that you've been the best over 18 or 22 rounds, then that's me being an old bloke, and that's the way I look at it. Whereas a grand final win, it's lovely, it's great, but really in the end it's a top 4 series. That's my opinion, and
It's a very Australian thing.
Grand finals are very Australian. Me with a British background and everything, I always think it's, the
league's the most important thing.
The most important one. But, so that year we ended up losing in the one loss was against Terrigal.
Grand final.
That was a bit hard to take. So
And the first grand final loss, because the first, I think, 5 league champions, you backed it up with 4 grand final wins. That first grand final loss, I believe, was at the stadium.
At the stadium, we lost there. It was to Terrigal again. I think it was Pacey who scored the winner.
1-0,
yeah. And we had our chances that day. And
I think that day it got delayed 2 hours kickoff because every other game went to penalties.
Yeah,
it was a very long day.
It was a long day, but no excuses. They deserved it in the end, and it was just another heartbreaking way to lose a grand final.
Yeah. Did you think that fueled the boys even more to go and do it again next year though?
Probably. It was one of those where the boys, especially when we won the league again, and I think we played Terrigal again in the grand final the year after, and it was one of those where probably, even though we won it, we probably played better the year before and didn't get the result. And that's football some days, isn't it? You don't have to win. You play better and you don't get the result.
Yeah, that's it. You don't have to be the best team as long as you get the result.
I did that on the weekend.
Do you think Terrigal were your biggest rivals throughout that stage? I think early on Gosford were obviously with the team they had.
Yeah, when you look at Gosford, some of those games, and you look at the players they had on the park, those clashes were really good, and 2 groups of players of the same sort of quality. So it was hammer and tong all the times, but played in a great atmosphere with you'd finish, you have a beer and go and be mates and that, but they'd be as hard as anything against each other. Then you had Terrigal, you had Woongarra when they came through as well. So it was, it was a changing sort of force around there for a little while. I think we had Toukley lead in the league at one year. They had produced some players. You've had Budgie boys. So in that regard, it was changing all the time, whereas at the moment it seems as though, like we just spoke before, it just seems to be a top 4, maybe 5, and it's getting hard to break into that in regards to just different things that are happening at different clubs.
When you look back on it going into the role, did you think you would ever achieve this? And now out of the role at a new club, do you feel like you achieved everything you set out to do?
Yeah, look, Matt Gale, when assigned, it was a 5-year plan, and they weren't that bothered about getting into Premier League straight away because they were in the Division 1. And I said, no, we'll try and get in the first year. And then from there, it was every year it was more, let's see if we can improve. And it just seemed to happen that way. And it was, I think the major thing is that I employed good people to help because, there's no way I'm that good a coach, let me tell you. But it's about making sure that you got the right people around you. And we were lucky that we did.
Do you have any regrets from that time? Was benching Tim Knight in that first grand final at the stadium one of them?
No, because on the day I thought I did the right thing.
Yeah.
I had maybe regrets from the time I was at the entrance in a grand final that we lost here. I had 2 players had been injured for 2 or 3 weeks and I didn't play them. I didn't start them, but then when I brought them on, they made a bit of a difference. So maybe that, but yeah, you got to make decisions. So right or wrong, you live by them, and that's what we've got to do. And I'm the one who you give the plaudits to, so you got to take the brickbats with it as well. And
personally, for you during that time, did you have any interest from maybe competitions from elsewhere, other regions, maybe up in Newcastle or Sydney or anything like that?
And plus, I could have gone back down Sydney and coached with my dad and stuff like that, but
you're happy where you were.
And you work, and I think unless you're going to get really good money, you get decent money here, so it's all right.
And if all goes well this year with your team at East Gosford, next year when you play at Killarney, what's that emotion going to be like?
Well,
And what do you think you're going to hear from the hill?
Oh, I'll cop a heap from the hill. But, you never – well, at the moment, you never know. It could be the promotion relegation game. You never know. It's,
Well, I think how the table's sitting at this moment.
It would be close to it. So it's I'm going to get a whole heap of abuse from the Killarney people now. But that's, you've got to look forward, and I've been trying to go to games just in case we are in that position to see what we might have to be up against if we don't come first. You never know.
Have you gone to many other MPL teams this year and watched them play?
I've been to Berkeley because Martin Dreen, the reserve team coach there, he was our reserve team coach at Killarney, and I've known Martin since our days at Marconi. I've seen Killarney a lot because my boy's playing there. So, yeah, it's sort of seeing the sides and seeing what's happening around.
And what do you make of the competition this year?
It's, as I was saying before, I think it's at almost the top 4 or 5. That's it. And the rest is going to be an absolute dogfight to try and stay up.
And your final years probably didn't go as you expected. A lot of turnover, rebuilding. Do you look back on that with any sort of wish you ended on a high?
No, not really, because it was my decision, much to my wife's displeasure in regards to she said I should have left after the grand final win, that last one. But I wanted to see and try and get those younger players through.
Yeah.
And I think what Warren and myself and all the other staff did was we've got them to the point, and now it's up to themselves to kick on. Because I think once you've played maybe 30 or 40 games in the top league, then you're accustomed to it and stuff like that. So with players leaving after that last grand final, I think it was the 2 Halls, Kirky, Silvers, players like that, you didn't want to just leave them in a hole because there was players there who had played maybe 5 to 10 games, but weren't quite ready for that full step up, and I think they needed to be nurtured and helped along a bit. So that was the reason. So I have no regrets at all.
And were you aware those players were leaving after the grand final?
Pretty much, because, with all those boys who had come through that era, they had the club nothing.
Yeah.
Because they're, much to everyone's, disbelief, that non-belief that our boys always paid Rego, never got paid, nothing like that. Yeah. So
they were there for the right reasons.
They were there for the reasons that they were there for their mates, and it was very, you'd cop it from the sidelines. Oh, well, you better get your checkbook out. It's not this, not that. And we're open book. We could, not 1 cent was ever paid to a player. Regos weren't paid, nothing like that. Which now, look, I totally agree that they should get their Regos paid, clubs. We're not doing it at East Gosford, unfortunately, but, it's about time that players in the top leagues around here at least get their Rego paid, because they're putting in the time and the effort. And I've got no qualms with anything like that. I just think players sometimes deserve it.
And those final years where obviously you struggle a little bit, do you think that sort of helped you come to East Gosford in this new role where you're building and starting from scratch?
Yeah, probably. It's got me used to got me thinking that, okay, you can't win every week. You got to you got to actually realise that what we had was just unbelievable. As I said to you earlier, I think in 10 years we only lost something like 8 or 9 games, and that was just sort of phenomenal, So I think one of the boys was only out. He only ever lost about 4 or 5 games because the other ones we missed, he was out injured or something like that. I forget which player it is, but you're going, wow. So in a sort of 8, 9, 10-year period, you've only lost 4 or 5 games in your whole time, and I just think it was a time in all those players' lives that they'll remember.
And if East Gosford do get promoted next year, how long do you see yourself staying there?
Well, I've got this year and I've got an option for next year.
Yeah.
At the moment, I love it. It's been great. It's been a breath of fresh air. Hopefully, they think we're doing a good job. It'll be all up to the committee and their perception of us. Nothing's forever. Nothing's forever.
That's right, yeah.
But I after 16 years at one club, I don't want to become what I was like as a player. I'd go from club to club, move around. Whoever paid me the most money, I'd just go to.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be like that as a coach. So, yeah.
And we did take to social media to let people know you're coming on. We got quite a lot of interest, but I've selected a few questions. So first one, it's a good one. You got Baz Hall, Matt Hall, Ethan Hall. You got to start one, bench one, and then drop one. Talk us through that.
Oh, that's the worst one ever. Wow. I'm going to get killed either way here because I was at Daniel Moffat's wedding and I said to Baz Hall's wife, I said, Baz Hall was the best Hall.
I've heard that. I didn't see Baz in his prime, so to speak, but I always heard Baz was the best.
Baz was what a player.
Yeah.
And Ethan had everything as well. What a dribbler, massive engine. All the Hall boys' engines massive.
Get stuck in.
Yeah. I could do with both Hall boys out wide at the moment. I'll go. And Matt Hall just won too many games for us. So start Matt Hall. I don't have to drop anyone, do I?
Nah, you can start Matt Hall and leave it at that.
Start Matt Hall and
that's a good bench to have both of them on the bench.
Both Halls on the bench. Yeah. Well, probably they'd have a soft tissue injury anyway.
That's it. They're probably not available to play anyway. Next one. What did a player have to do at training to earn a yellow bib? What's that about?
That's Mr. Horman here. He thought that all the so-called, he'd say they were my pets. All the best players would get a yellow bib and the others would just not get a bib. So that's
where that comes from. Do you consider yourself a tactician or a man manager?
Man manager. Was as a tactician. Finchy, I had two assistants over my time, Michael Finch and Warren Stevenson, and then we've had Martin Dream, we've had Damo Shepherd, and we've had Matt Leach as well. So we've had great people involved, and that's, as people would say, I never have ever said I'm a good coach. I've just been lucky to get results, and I think you just got to treat the players as men because that's what they are, and you got to remember that they're doing this because they enjoy it, and they're doing it after a long day at work and stuff like that. So I've always said to my players, if you've had a bad day at work or whatever, don't lie to me, don't bullshit to me.
Yeah.
Just tell me, Ackers, I'm knackered, I can't come.
Yeah, honest and open.
Be honest, open, and I'll be as honest and open as I can as well with you. And I think players respect that in a way because, I totally get where they're coming from. A lot of them are tradies and stuff like that. And if you're out all day and you've been on a job for 10 or 12 hours, sometimes the last thing you want to do is come and listen to an idiot like me. So, just treat them with respect and just, manage them a bit.
This is a good one. Create a five-a-side of the best players you coached at Killarney. Now, I don't know if there's much discussion around goalkeepers. Would you say Declan's the best? Do we go 5 outfield players? Because I'd like to know.
Declan's the best keeper we've had at Killarney. Well, I think he's won 2.
He's the only player to win only 2 Andrew French medals. Yeah.
So
we'll go 5 outfield players.
5 outfield players. Okay.
There's been people come and go, and obviously, like Adam Smith wasn't there for a long time, but he got player of the year.
What a player.
So does he hold a special place in your heart, or you go over for someone like maybe Bruiser who was there for longer? You got Kirky.
You've got Kirky. You've got Daniel Roger. I had to say that because Horman goes, "Oh, you'll say he's his favourite." I'll say Matt Hall.
Yep.
Daniel Moffat for just the absolute the mongrel that you need.
Moffat's the type of player where if you're on his team, he's the best player for you. But if you
hate him if he's not on your team. Yeah, Daniel Moffat. Oh, I'm gonna get in trouble here again because I'll forget as soon as I get out.
People have got to miss out.
Yeah. Well, see,
Johnny Whelpdale, Andy. Like, there's a lot of players to fit in the 5.
I'll go John Whelpdale.
Yep.
Andy Klein.
Lucky last.
Have I said Kirky?
No, I don't think so.
For a ball-playing centre-back, Cameron Price-Jones.
I was going to say that doesn't sound like Kirky.
No.
Ball-playing centre-back.
Cameron Price-Jones, and on the bench, Kirk.
The rest.
Kirk, Baz.
You had Woody for a year.
Woodbine, yeah, gee, we've had some players, you know, and that's when the club had the 40th anniversary, they asked me to name a squad of 20 or 25 of my best players, and I said I didn't want to do it, not at that stage because I was still at the club, but one day I'll sit down and pick a squad of maybe 20 of probably my best that I've thought.
Yeah, because you got people like even Jaden Radford, who's sort of like
Jaden Radford
just goes under the radar, but just does his job.
Good footballer.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many. You got even now coming through. You've got Lockie Wallace has been in and out all the time. Like he's fully in now, and it just there's been so many different players. I even go back to the when I first came there was some amazing players that, you know, maybe would have forced their way into these squads. But so it's food for thought.
And if you can you name who you think is the best player throughout that dynasty? If you had to pick one.
Yeah, for what? Matt Hall.
Matt Hall?
Yeah, Matt Hall. And then, Matt Hall. I'd say Matt Hall just because of what he did for the club, and it was always big moments. If there was a big moment to be had, he seemed to be right there, right involved with it, and and he does a good bathroom anyway because he did our bathroom.
Shout out,
Matt Hall tiling.
There were more questions, stuff about helmets for skins games, but we don't need to get into that. Yeah, you don't hear many traditions like that. That's a good one.
Yeah, and they always do that, and they always end up on the roof of the clubhouse to watch the sunrise after any grand finals.
Is there any other sort of traditions? Like at the entrance, we had a thing where you'd stay back every Thursday. It'd be supper, something like that, play some cards.
Exactly the same. Suppers, play Chase the Ace, and then whoever loses has to bring supper the next week. And it's brilliant when 3 blokes go out at the same time because then you get entree, main meal, and a dessert. And Wazza and I have introduced it over at East Gosford now. So I think that's just part of the building of a club in regards, because if you're together, you end up finding out what everyone else does. It's not just blokes coming in and sort of
showing up and leaving.
It just builds it, and blokes get to know each other.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest one.
Yeah, and whether people know it or not, like that stuff does go a long way on the pitch.
It does.
Like those, whether it be just staying back for one beer after training or head to the major sponsor after the game.
Well,
it does go a long way.
I think you've just got to make an effort to be part of the club and build something. And then and I've always said it to our boys and that, you're not letting myself down or Warren or Marty or anyone. You're letting your mates down, and you know, if they can do that, then that's fine. But you know, when I played, if there's nothing worse than letting a mate down. So if you become mates, then you'll start doing extra stuff for each other on the pitch and helping each other. And when it gets tough, you dig in.
And as a whole club, was there anything, maybe even at East Gosford now or Killarney, where sort of the first graders helped out the junior sides or would run a junior session or anything like that?
Well, always at Killarney and now at East Gosford. We're running the academy, but the grade players do it as well.
Yeah.
So Warren and I do it, and we walk around. They're given a plan of what to do in the session and stuff like that. So we always get players involved, and then that helps the juniors because they think, oh well, at least if the seniors are coming, and then we might get those players coming down to watch as well.
Yeah,
So just
supporting on the weekends.
helps build the club.
Now, before we wrap up, we'll go through the round 8 of our MPL this weekend. I'll get your thoughts on the games and the teams and maybe get some score predictions. Saturday night, we've got Old Boys Day at Killarney. They're taking on Gosford. How do you see that one playing out, and what do you think the score will be?
An absolute 6-pointer, isn't it? It's one of those games. I saw Gosford the other week when they picked up their first points against Berkeley.
Yep. Heard they were unlucky not to win that.
That's what I. Yeah,
Joey Gibbs maybe missed one.
I left just before the end. I heard he missed right at the end to make it 2-1.
That's unlike him. Weather pending, of course.
Weather pending. I'll go 2-2.
Saturday night also, we have Wyoming at home against league leader Budgie Boy. Dropped points for the first time on the weekend, so I wonder if that might come into play.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Budgie, it was hard work for him because did they play Thursday or Wednesday night?
Wednesday night against
Wednesday
Southern.
night, so a 2-day backup would have been hard work, especially playing Southern and it was a tough physical game from what a few of our boys went and watched. And Wyoming I saw on the weekend. They were quite good, but I'll go 3-1 to Budgie.
I've got an Association Cup Grand Final rematch from this year. So we've got Berkeley Vale at home against Southern.
Wow. I don't think it'll be a high-scoring game just because Berkeley don't seem to be scoring a lot of goals.
They also don't concede a lot.
No, yeah. And Southern, I think, maybe might have a couple out with suspension or something like that after that game. So I don't know. Maybe 2-1 Berkeley.
2-1 to the Wombats.
Yeah.
Okay. Umina and Terrigal, their first meeting of 2026 at Umina Oval down on the peninsula.
Oh, down on what a ground to go to. It's hard work going down there all the time.
Always.
But maybe, and it's not a great pitch, but it's probably Wembley compared to Duffy's. So Terrigal might like going down there. I'll go 3-2 to Umina.
And then on the Sunday, we've got Camwell when they're hosting last place of Rimba.
It's almost getting into the last, this early in the season, a Rimmer have got to get some points. Just have to. Camwell, and it's at Camwell, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
Camwell at their ground are always hard. I think Camwell 4-0.
You heard it here first.
I'll get none of them right.
Looking forward to the rest of the year. What does a good year for East Gosford look like? What's a perfect year?
I would like to stay completely away from promotion relegation game. One-off games are hard work, really hard work, and I think you can cop. I think just to come first would be our aim. I'm sure that Avoca and Kincumber. We've seemed to have broke away at the moment from sides. Tookley will still have a big part to play in it, and I still think Doyleson with the players they've got will start to kick on. But hopefully it's after next week because we've got them this week. So to come first, would be good, but I'm not too stupid to think that it's going to be easy. And I think Avoca have got a major part to play because they've got a Premier League squad, and I think they should have stayed in the Premier League last year in regards to what they had. They were just a wee bit unlucky, but so they're the real big threats. But I think every club might be in the same boat as we will be in a few weeks. I think there's players going away to watch the World Cup.
Yep.
There's players going to Europe to festivals.
You always get to that mid-season.
So it's going to be which club can deal with it the best. So hopefully we pick up points now until they go away and then just battle on, and hopefully we can get on. Once you're on a roll, sometimes it just keeps going.
Yeah, when you look at, obviously, last year, Umina, they didn't look like losing any games, went through undefeated.
Yeah.
This year, we got looks like it's going to be a very good battle to the final end of the year. So it's gonna be good to see how everything pans out.
I don't think anyone will, out of the top 4 at the moment, will just streak away. I just think it's going to be right till the end.
Well, all the best for the rest of the year. Appreciate you coming on. So thanks very much for joining us.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
What a huge fixture we have headlining round 8 of our WPL competition. This weekend's fixtures all take place on Sunday at 2:45, and our match of the round takes us to Edzak Oval, where we have a rematch of last year's first grade grand final. Killarney have once again started the season with a perfect record, 8 wins from 8 games, but welcome an informed Gosford side who have scored 25 goals in their last 3 fixtures and look to carry that momentum into Sunday's highly anticipated clash. Meeting at Pat Morley for the second time already this season is the entrance and new minor, as the Reddies look to turn their season around with their first win of the year, while the Eagles will be out to silence the home side with another win over the entrance outfit in 2026. Two sides who couldn't be separated in round 1 meet at Wadalba Sports Complex, as Camel and Terrigal both look to secure the 3 points after a 2-2 draw earlier in the year. The final game of the round will see Kincumber at home against Southern. A win for the home side at Frost Reserve will see them go 7 points clear of 4th place Southern, who will be entering the second round of fixtures with a new coach on the sidelines. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Coast Football Weekly. As always, please remember to like and subscribe on YouTube and leave a rating and review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We'll catch you next week for another episode.